Welcome to the Next Level Social Podcast. I'm your host, Ayla Sorachuk, and my purpose is to help female entrepreneurs create businesses and brands through social media and online marketing so they can start to attract their ideal client and start generating the leads, the sales, and the income that they deserve. If you're ready to take your business to the next level and start showing up online like the unstoppable entrepreneur that you are, then this is the perfect place for you. Let's get social. Hello, my love, and welcome back to a new episode of the Next Level Social Podcast. I am your host, Ayla, and as always, I am so excited and honored to have you here for another episode of the show. It has been a little bit of a minute, I'm not going to lie. I took a little break from the podcast. There has been a lot going on. If you are completely new to my world, you wouldn't know, but if you follow me on social, you would have saw that January was an absolute It was just wild. We went to Banff and hosted a content immersion retreat for 5 incredible female entrepreneurs. And then I flew over to the States. I had some personal and some business things to do over in Dallas. And your girl just was like flying by the seat of her pants. And it's all champagne problems. I have so many really exciting projects in the works. I actually can't even wait to tell you about some of them. I actually did a photo shoot yesterday to capture some content for a really big announcement that I have coming soon. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. It's something that was in the works at the end of 2023, and officially I signed a contract for something special actually on New Year's Eve. And so I've just been waiting to tell you about it. And so I wanted to, of course, do it in a really fun way. If you know me, you know I love to launch big. I love branding. I like to have themes around big announcements and launches. So we filmed and captured and took some photos for this secret project yesterday. And then I also did a little bit of a rebrand. I'm getting ready to launch something new at the end of this month for a specific female entrepreneur. And so I wanted the branding and the imagery to really align. So your girl has been busy and I've missed you, I'm so excited to be back here on the mic and on video. We haven't been on video even longer. So we got the cameras, the lights, we got the mic set up. We're in my home studio. So hey, how are you? Welcome back to the freaking show. And we're in for a good one today. We are in for money warning, money trigger warning. We're going to be talking about some cash flow and a really exciting week that I had last week in the business when it comes to the business revenue that was generated, and a really exciting goal that I am trying to hit this month. So today's episode is titled 43K in 7 days, the how. I know, insane. Again, money trigger warning. If you don't like having conversations around money, this episode may not be the one for you. However, I, as always, will challenge you to ask yourself why. Conversations like this used to really make me feel a way too. I remember being on social media, being in masterminds and group coaching programs and mentor spaces, and seeing women make big claims and share wins like this. And I used to feel, I don't know what the right word was, but not necessarily good. It used to make me feel a way because I couldn't believe it. I was like, how are these women making 20, 30, 40, 50, 100K months? I don't understand. Why aren't I doing that? And I made it mean something about me instead of going inward and asking myself why and really practicing and diving into money mindset work, which flash forward now 3 years later, this is a daily practice for me. I have spent countless hours really diving into my mindset around money and breaking the generational barriers that I know that I have and so many of you have. I can leave some resources in the show notes below. Amanda Francis, I talk about her book, Rich as Fuck, all of the time on the podcast. It really was the first personal development resource around money that I dove into that started to shift and change the trajectory of how I viewed money. And from there, it's endless, the resources, podcasts, masterclasses, webinars, other books around money. So I'll leave some of my favorite resources there for you. But today we're talking about money. And so the week before last week, I looked at the numbers and we were at that point 6 days in. It was February 6th. As we are here and when I'm recording this, we're at February 12th. But at February 6th going on 7th, my business had already generated $43,000. In freaking insane. My highest revenue week since I've launched my business to date. And so I shared it naturally on stories. And just so you know as well, in full transparency, anytime I talk about wins like this and share, numbers like this, it isn't something that I'm like 100% pumped about. Like I am internally, and like I'm so grateful, and I celebrate with my team and my family. I call my mom, and like I'm so grateful for the abundance that comes into my life and has been in my life and my business. But I'm not going to lie, I still get a little uncomfortable, even with all the money mindset work that I'm talking about, sharing results like this and showing up on my stories and talking on this podcast like this. I even received, I've received so many amazing positive messages when I shared these results on my stories. But with that being said, I also, received some backlash. I saw a couple DMs from people that I don't know, which is always the funniest, how people we don't know think that they can just, have an opinion about us and our lives and our stories. Anyways, conversation for another day. But things along the lines of, I'm officially unfollowing you. I find this so tacky. I also don't believe that this is your results. All of the different things. And again, I do not take it personal, and I don't make it mean anything about me. I am also really big on the 4 agreements, that book. I talk about it all the time. And 2 of the 4 agreements is to never make assumptions and to never take things personal, both in business and life. And so I cannot assume what's going on in these individuals' lives that decided to, give me their 2 cents. And I also can't take it personal because I know, and whenever I talk about money on the podcast, I always say, I know that the woman that wants to enter my world, she's a big boss. She is a badass, fierce female entrepreneur who isn't afraid of money conversations, who isn't afraid of really big goals, who either is or wants to be making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 months, who knows that it's possible and who is working towards it or has already achieved it. And I know that if I can get into the room with them to help them along this journey the way that I have to talk about these results. I have to share these wins. I have to share screenshots of my Stripe account and to talk about what's actually going on and to be transparent. And I know that it's going to attract and bring the women that I genuinely want to work with into my world quicker, faster, because I never would have hired my mentor if she wasn't talking about her money wins. Better believe I wouldn't have. It was actually the reason I hired my first mentor, because she was saying and demonstrating through her content, through her podcast, through her stories that she was earning $20,000 months. And I was like, holy shit, how are you doing this? I need to get into your world. I need to see how, and which is exactly what happened. And then I was able to replicate her model in my own way to do the same. And so that's what today's episode is all about. We're talking about this $43,000 week that I had, and I'm going to what am I trying to say? I'm going to lift the veil. No gaslighting when you're in my world. If you are a current client of mine, there's no, did I say gaslighting? I meant gatekeeping. Rewind. There's no gatekeeping in my world. There's also no gaslighting, but there's no gatekeeping when you're in my world. I will spill all the tea. And so today I'm taking you as an avid listener of the podcast behind the scenes, and we're talking about how. So I'm going to pull up my laptop here. Well, I have my laptop if you're watching this on the video. Also, shout out, I should have said in the beginning, if you're listening to this episode, please subscribe to wherever you listen to episodes. And if you're watching, you can watch right now, me in my living room, in my studio on YouTube or Spotify, and subscribe. Leave me a review. It helps the podcast, The Next Level Social, hosted by Ayla Sorchuk, so freaking much. You have no idea. But yeah, we're on video. I always love being on video. It makes me feel one step closer to you and a little bit more connected. Okay, so here, let's just dive into the episode, what you're actually here for. We're spilling the tea. The how. Okay, so how I generated $43,000. So $30,000 came in new cash. I had one new 6-month private client sign on, and then I had one new 5-week Ignite intensive client sign on. So that was a massive chunk of cash flow that came in right there. That was $30,000. Then I had $5,000 in retention revenue, one of my most favorite sources of income. So this was through current people, students, private clients that are already in my world re-signing. So I had the majority of this came from current mastermind students re-signing. Nothing feels better to me than when somebody is in my world and they re-sign. I think I'm going to actually do an entire podcast episode on client retention and what this actually means and looks like and how I have been able to really implement this into my business, because it's hands down been the number one game changer in high cash flow and consistent revenue months. So that was $5,000 in retention revenue. And then I had about $8,000 in recurring revenue, another one of my most favorite ways to bring in money, which is in my business suite, in my offer suite, and in my business model, this looks like payment plans, this looks like automated self-study course sales, things like that. So that right there was 30, 35, 8, you do the math, 43,000 in the 1 week. Insane, so grateful, so exciting, so possible. So the best part about this revenue for me was that every single one of these sales was from people who had already been in my world in one way, shape, or form. So the private client that ended up signing for 6 months, she actually already was a private client of mine, and she started in my world in a 3-month retainer. We finished that 3-month retainer. We worked on a specific project together. Once the 3 months was done, she was like, you know what, Ayla, I'm not ready to be done. I actually want to sign on again, and this time I want double the time. We have a new project that we're going to be working on together. And so she re-signed at double the amount of time and double the amount. So this was such a win for me in my business because, like I said, this person was already in my world. She already, did a 3-month private mentorship program. She could have been done. Our contract was over, but she found so much value with me, with my work, with the customer service, with the results, that she was not ready to be done. And so that to me was one of the best moments in my business. And shout out to Caroline. If Caroline's listening to this episode, you know who you are, and I can't wait to help you work on your project that we're working on. But huge win and huge influx of cash flow that entered into the business. The other private client that did the 5-week intensive, she actually was part of my world already. She was part of our Banff content retreat. And so if you've listened to any of my episodes where I speak about our content retreats, you know that they are not actually a giant revenue generator for us in the moment. How the retreats actually generate income for us is they're a funnel for our other businesses. So many of the women that sign up for the retreats, they end up entering my world in one way, shape, or form. And this was a prime example. So she got a taste of me and my personality and my mentorship in Banff, and she obviously, found so much value there that she's like, I'm not ready to be done. I need more than these 3 days. I want to work with you one-on-one for the next 5 weeks. So that's how she came in. Again, the current masterminds that were already enrolled, re-signing, already were in my world, re-signed. And then the only brand new this month I have written down here was a few self-study course sales. So I have some back-end automated funnels working for me that go to freebies, and then those freebies go into email funnels, and those email funnels are then marketing self-study courses like my podcast course on air, like my Instagram stories course called Shattered, which I'll leave links to those in the show notes if you're wanting to check those bad boys out. Amazing programs if you're wanting to launch a podcast and if you're wanting to sell and create Instagram stories that stand out. So I have some automation there, which is really, really fun. We're still trying to streamline this and really fine tune these funnels, but they are working. And so that was essentially the only new that I had coming into my world. Other than that, this revenue was generated from retention, reoccurring retention, current clients, which such a win. And so, and such like I said, I'll do an entire podcast episode on this, but it's just something so important to note for you even now is that the people that are already in your world, your current customers, your current clients, love on them. Love on them so hard. For me, my private clients, they come first, foremost, above all else. I check in with them. They get anything that in my world that they desire. I am like their silent business partner. I'm incredibly invested because they have invested in me. And with that, I do not take it lightly. I really don't. If you're a private client of mine now, or you have been in the past, you know, again, no gatekeeping when you're in my world. I give them my all. Same with and then my mastermind students. Those come after private clients, but I'm just as invested. I am watching every single one of them. And at a given time, we have anywhere between 12 to 18 mastermind students. And you better believe your girl is watching every single one of their stories, every single one of their launches. I am actively paying attention because I know what it's like to be in a mastermind where you kind of just feel like another fly on the wall and another pebble in someone's shoe. And that really isn't a good feeling when you're part of something like a mastermind. The point of a mastermind is, yes, to be in a group with like-minded, people that are in your same industry. And in this case, in my mastermind, female entrepreneurs, but it's also to have a mentor that actually gives a shit and that's paying attention and that is helping you execute. And so for me, that's really, really important. And then when you enter my world in at, the lower level, anything self-study, masterclasses, freebies, the podcast, I'm still giving my all in that capacity. I want whoever enters my world, once they're in it, I want them leaving like, oh my God, this was unbelievable. Imagine what it's like to get inside Ayla's paid programs, or imagine what it's like to level up into Ayla's mastermind, or imagine what it's like to get into Ayla's private mentorship. So that is just how I treat my current customers. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're product-based, service-based, go the extra mile for the people that are in your world because they're already invested in you. And there's so much opportunity for the lifetime value of this customer to really monetarily enhance your business. And so I digress. But again, I need to do an entire episode on client retention and customer service, truly, because it can make or break your business. Word of mouth is still so powerful, even though we're all up in here talking about Instagram and social media and content and attraction marketing. Word of mouth is still giant for as my business and so many of my clients. Okay, so that was like the actual how, the actual, like, you can see where the revenue came in, but there was, of course, some tangible things that I have been doing, I would say over the last 6 months specifically, that I know has actually generated into the how of this. The first being messaging shifts. This one is so freaking key and something that I 100% without a fathom of the doubt know has definitely helped grow and scale my business over the last little bit, as specifically over the last week while we're in this $43,000 week. Insane. So what that means is, for me in my business, and take this with a grain of salt and apply it to your business, is instead of talking to all female entrepreneurs in the online space that are trying to grow and scale, I really started to shift into talking to the one female entrepreneur that I can help. So similarly to what I was referencing in the beginning of the episode. So this is almost the one who is already sold into my offer. This is the one who is ready to take action. This is the one who is already making 6 figures or multiple 6 figures or more, who is inspired by money wins, who isn't triggered by talking about money because they also want to be making money and are perhaps motivated like myself by money and making big impact and branding. They love all of this and they're not competitive or jealous or envious. It actually inspires them and they realize that, okay, so seeing, somebody else's win or their house or their relationship or their fancy car or their kids might spark something in them that could replicate the feeling of jealousy or envy, but then they quickly shift their mind and perspective and already know, oh, that's a good feeling. This is the universe, this is my body, this is my mind telling me what I also want in life, instead of being like, oh, this means something about me or her and so, and start, making all of these assumptions and going down a rabbit hole. That isn't the person that I want to be talking to. That isn't the person that I want to be working with. That isn't the person that I want in my world in any way, shape, or form. So I stopped talking to a generalized version of a female entrepreneur, and I started in all of my content, my messaging, my branding, my podcast, started talking to her. And when people are looking at you and they're inspired by you and what you are saying starts to really resonate with them, they are way more likely to take action. And when I started getting so clear and crystal on my messaging to this one person, to this woman who already was embodied in the offer that I was selling, that's genuinely when things started to really shift. And I was able to make more sales seamlessly because I was attracting this one person and times 10, and things just started to convert and feel a lot more flowy and effortless, truly. So I really want you to think right now, who am I talking to? And we want to be thinking about this all of the time. Our target audience, our ideal client. This is such an important piece of business, and this is something and someone that's going to shift very naturally and evolve over time because you are going to naturally shift and evolve over time. My ideal client 3 years ago looks a lot different than my ideal client today, and that's okay. Same with my niche, same with my branding, same with my offers, all of the things. And guess what? We should be. Our brands should be evolving. If you are doing the exact same thing that you were even doing 6 months ago, girl, I'm here to tell you, you got to shift things up. You got to switch it up. You got to, get jiggy with it. All right. And do a little revive. So I digress. So messaging shifts, absolutely game changing for these higher revenue generating months. Okay. The next piece that I know has helped so much is I focus my mindset and my belief on my transformation more than ever. And we talk about mindset on this podcast all of the time because 90% of what it is that we're freaking doing in these online businesses and as entrepreneurs comes down to our mindset. And I'm not going to lie to you. The reason why I've focused on my mindset and my belief in my transformation more than ever before, I would say especially the last 30 days, is that I've actually been tested more than ever before. Like a lot. I've been tested with my clients. I've been tested in my personal relationships, in my friendships, in, every aspect of human connection and communication. I have been tested a lot lately, and I'm not going to get in it too much, but I have been. And at first it can be trying. At first, we can start to feel sorry for ourselves and why is this feeling tricky and why is this happening and this is breaking my heart and this feels more stressful than normal. We can definitely start to spiral, and I can speak from experience. This was me. But then I quickly started to shift my perspective and my mindset around why I was being tested this way because I realized that it was for a reason. And I believe that the universe, the greater good, God, the business gurus, whatever you want to call it, is testing me. And they're asking me, Ayla, are you ready to hold space for a new level? Are you ready for a new devil? You know what I always say, new level, new devil. And I'm being tested. And so when I'm being tested, I can sense it, I can see it, I understand what it is, and I'm able to shift the perspective. But with that being said, I know I need to dial and lock in my mindset work. And I need to really lean into making it a top priority for me more than usual. So I've been really focusing on staying in my own lane. Blinders up is what I always say. And showing up for me like I am the best at what I do because I genuinely, like I said, I believe in it. My mindset and my belief on the transformation is locked in. I have been getting insane results for myself the last 3 years and for hundreds of other female entrepreneurs at this point. And I have to tell myself this every single day because when things start to feel tricky, tough, testing, those spiraling thoughts, they can start to take over. But if I have my belief locked into me, into my business, into the results that I know that I can get to, and know that I and believe that I am one of the best at what I do, and it's just my job to keep showing up for the people that need my help, nothing will crush me. There's no feat I can't, take on. And so that is just been it's just been top priority. And I know that if I want somebody else to believe in me and trust in me and eventually pay me for my offers, I know that I have to know that I am worthy of it, and I have to believe in me above all else, and I have to give it everything I've got with my mind, body, and soul. And I know that I have to be more confident in myself and my offer and my brand. And the more that I am more confident in all of that, the more that the sales will come in, and the more that the sales do come in, because I will continue to flow and at energy that matches this level of revenue. So what I will say to you is let go of any attachment of your worth to the results that you obtain. When you can hold yourself and when we can hold ourselves in high regard and high value, whether or not we hit a certain number in our business and sales, your income, I'm telling you right now, it will never be capped, okay? So that for sure has been a shift that I know attributed to the how of this really amazing week. Okay, we have a couple more here. This one, again, and some of these sound a bit woo-woo, and I don't really care. This is just stuff that I know works for me, and if you implement it and believe it the way that I do, will work for you, which is claiming it before it happens. So I'm really big on manifestation and vision setting. If you're in my world, if you know, you know. And this applies really to anything, not just in business, but in life, really. And money goals, especially, big money goals, it's no exception. So for me, claiming the revenue goal that I wanted before it actually happened started in the very beginning. It started at first at 5K months, 10K, then 20K was like that freaking top of the mountain for me. If I could just be hitting 20K months, I would just be made. I'd be set. And like, that is an amazing revenue goal and an amazing life for anyone. But that for me was like, my Mount Everest but I claimed it. I said, it's happening. It's gonna happen. And here's exactly how I'm gonna do it. And then it went to 40, and then it went to 50. And now we're making another jump, and it's really scary. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm claiming that it's gonna happen. And I'm claiming that it very well so could happen this month, which is 100K months. This has been, for me, I would say the last year, this has been my 20K month 2 years ago, is 100K months. And it's really scary. So yeah, it's scary. It is a massive jump. I have been consistently hitting between, 40 and 50,000, but this week alone, like I said, has been a huge milestone for my business, and we're already halfway there. So I am going to claim that February could be and will hopefully be my first 100K month. Your girl has got a lot of work to do. I have some things mapped up. Like I said, I have some exciting launches that I have been honestly putting off for, I would say, 6 months, because I have been, I'm not even gonna lie, scared. Scared for a lot of things. And again, that's a conversation for a whole other day. But there has been something on my heart that I know my business needs based on demand, based on the level of entrepreneur that I'm helping right now. And so that's another reason why I did this big shoot, because I have a new launch coming really soon, and hopefully I will be letting you know within the next week or two. I'm just waiting for assets and all of the things. So we have things in the works. I'm in so many conversations right now. Discovery calls have been popping off. Like, there's so much happening. So it could very well happen, but I have to claim it before it can actually happen, and then start to work backwards from there. And there's just something so powerful about acting like something is already here before it is. So I want you to do this in your business or in your life, whatever your goal is. I want you to visualize a goal that expands you and excites you. I want you to do it right now. When you're listening to this podcast, if you're working out, if you're in the car, wherever you are, or come back to me at least, and visualize it right now. And for the next 2 weeks, just like me, I want you to act like it's already happening for you. I want every single action, every single move that you make for these next 2 weeks to reflect these results like they are already happening, okay? And I'm telling you, whatever it is, whatever goal it is, whether it's an income goal, let's say it's an income goal. Your income goal will reflect what you claim and put out there before it actually arrives. Okay, last couple of tips, strategies that I've implemented that I want to share with you is always, and I talk about this in almost every podcast episode, and I will never stop talking about this, which is always focusing on building, nurturing, and growing a solid community that is ready to buy. I would never be able to make these types of sales in my business if I didn't have a warm and hot audience that is connected with me, that is nurtured from me, and that has a relationship with me, and also that values and sees credibility in the offer that I'm selling, okay? And so I do this by continuously posting and creating value-added content that is super intentional for my ideal client. There's no rocket science around this, but that is what truly keeps my business and my brand going. And if you are a brand, especially a personal brand, and you're wanting to sell an offer online, I'm telling you right now that the content has to be a non-freaking negotiable. And you want this content to stand out, and you want it to be a reflection of the brand that you're creating. That's my intention with every single thing that I put out there. And really focusing especially on video content, that's been huge for me lately. That is speaking to my ideal client, the one that I want to talk to, and really build a connection with them. That's the main focus. I want to really have my content hit home for them. I want it to, yes, stand out, but I want it to just hit my ideal client right in the feels. So I've been more intentional with the content that I'm creating. And like I said, the messaging, and really focusing on evoking emotion and building that connection, that deep connection, understanding as to why my ideal client needs to hire me and work with me, and how I can really help them, okay? And so I know that this level of content will connect my people to me in the right way. And of course, all of this leads to high conversion and makes the buying decision process so much easier when we get to that point, okay? So I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. I think that is, I guess, the last thing I will say, which I say again, and you're going to be like, wah, wah, Ayla, but it goes without even saying, but I show up consistently and I sell my offers from different angles all the freaking time, whether that's through content that relays social proof, whether that is through storytelling content, whether that is celebrating individuals that are coming into my world every day. And I will continue to sell and continue to highlight people joining my world, and continue to show up on social media and in my email marketing and through ads and through my funnels and through my stories, no matter what, speaking to that one person consistently. And all of this genuinely has attributed to this insane, badass week. And here's to seeing what the rest of February, right now as we stand, we're in February, like I said, February 12th, 2024. So we'll see what happens at the end of the month. Either way, I'm not going to make it mean anything about me, but it's an amazing goal, and it's something that's been on my heart and in my vision for a while, and we're halfway there. So why not claim it? Why not try? Why not at least act like it's happening and work towards it? Because I know, yes, that would be an amazing revenue goal, but I also know what that could mean for the one that I know how to help, okay? So if that just so happens to be you, if you want to jump into my world right now, whether that is through private mentorship, whether that's through my mastermind, whether that's through some of my exciting launches that I have coming, I would love to have you. Now is an incredibly exciting time to enter into my world. And of course, it would help me hit this goal, but that's not even the reason why. It's more than that. It's about you and how I can help you and how I can get you from living inside the shadows of your own life and really step into the light and build the business and the brand and or grow and scale the one that you currently have to new freaking levels, okay? So definitely check out the show notes for ways to get into my world, for any of the resources that I mentioned in today's podcast. I hope that you found value in today's episode. If you did, please take a screenshot, share it on social, tag me at Ayla Sorachuk. I love seeing and hearing from you and getting feedback and requests and just building connection with you, because that you are my why and why I show up here. And if you watch this on YouTube or Spotify video, hey, how are you? I always love seeing you, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye, Queen. Have an amazing day.